This week, Click goes on the search of a true out-of-body experience as we meet the people who can project themselves into the bodies of robots. Oh, and I did drag myself out of bed, so don't panic, I am here. We'll also have a sneak peek at some of the upcoming titles that are getting video gamers all steamed up. Just how much do anti-aging creams really work? We come face to face with the machine that puts them to the test. All that plus the latest tech news, and all aboard! This week's Webscape will send you hurtling across Japan at 300 miles an hour. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. For a long time, telepresence was a technology that was reserved for the boardrooms of big multinational companies, where the president would sit at a desk on one continent and discuss the business of the day with execs at a desk on another. These days, of course, we're all used to having video chats with our friends, but here's the twist. If you combine that technology with robotics, you're on the way to creating true telepresence, allowing you to physically be somewhere that you're not. We asked Sumi Das to make a very special house call in California.
Hi, I'm Grady. And this is my Grady bot.
For 2 months last year, Grady Hoffman lived vicariously through this robot. In the spring of 2012, Grady, then 8 years old, was told he needed a bone marrow transplant and that afterwards he'd be confined to a small isolation room in a hospital. A dreaded sentence for a young boy who prefers mucking about with his 2 older brothers. But a family friend convinced Silicon Valley company Anybots to loan Grady a QB, one of their telepresence robots, which the family dubbed GradyBot.
I was happy, really happy.
Why?
Because I knew I can be home, but I wasn't actually home.
Cameras on the QB served as Grady's eyes, a microphone and speakers as his ears.
And that person in that remote location through their browser can see what that robot's seeing and can hear what that robot's hearing. So they can talk to people in the remote location.
From the hospital, Grady remotely navigated the 2-wheeled self-balancing robot around the Hoffman home.
We'd sit at the table, and then we took away Grady's chair and put the robot next to the dinner table, and so he would eat his lunch in the dinner in the hospital, and we'd eat our dinner at the table, and he could be with us.
GradyBot joined his brothers for pre-bedtime gabs, visited his classmates at school, celebrated his brother's birthday, and endured the usual sibling torment.
It was kind of fun, but yet weird. It was more fun having Grady on the robot. So then if we got annoyed, we just turned him off. He finally had a mute button.
They may tease, but the Hoffman clan, especially Mum Amy, realized the GradyBot was a bright spot during a difficult time.
It was just a nice way to stay connected, and I think when you're going through something like transplant that takes so long, it just is, the power of the human connection is just it's so important in the healing process.
The boys agree the QB was easy and fun to use, though they did suggest one improvement.
I don't know how you'd make it, but arms would be awesome on the robot.
We had a suggestion too. While demoing the device, we noticed occasional connection hiccups, which compromised the experience.
The internet's plenty fast. Our server's in Austin, and we drive all over the world going to and from Austin. But it's that last mile where you have to get from the access point in the building to us via Wi-Fi that sometimes is the problem.
Hey Joe, how you doing?
Still, the technology is proving that robots are good for more than just dull deeds nobody else wants to do. And the robotic telepresence market is quickly becoming more crowded. There's the Beam from Suitable Technologies, the Manterobot, the Vigo, and others. This is likely welcome news for megalomaniacs who can finally set about assembling their very own robot army. Not convinced? Oh, all right. Here are some practical uses then. Doctors can make virtual house calls. Students can pursue remote learning opportunities. Employees could save on travel expenses and send robots to pop into a colleague's cubicle or roll over to a meeting. A built-in laser can even help them make a point. No shortage of uses for robotic telepresence, but you may come up short on cash. The QB, for example, costs $10,000. But telepresence doesn't have to cost a small fortune. Say hello to the double. Or should I say, my double. The double runs $2,000. Like the QB, it's a two-wheeled self-balancing robot. But instead of integrated cameras and speakers, it uses an iPad, which, as you might have guessed, isn't included.
It has gyros, it has accelerometers to sense where it's going and if it's tilting forwards and backwards, and of course it has motors.
The lower price opens doors for some interesting uses. Imagine visiting an art collection halfway around the world.
It's great for giving museum tours. It could be an additional revenue generator because you could have people visiting the museums even after hours.
Double robotics suggests that parents could keep an eye on their kids. Of course, the crafty kids will figure out how to outsmart the technology. 13-year-old me would just lock this babysitting bot in the closet. Bye, Mom. Because robotic telepresence is a relative newbie in the tech world, every device has its shortcomings and its strengths. The height of the QB must be changed manually, but on the double, it can be adjusted on the app with a button. The double is lightweight, but less robust than the sturdy QB. And of course, none of them can overcome a common obstacle: stairs. But given the potential, it might be best not to abandon these bots anytime soon.
Sumi Das in California. Okay, next up, look at this week's tech news.
The United States Navy has shot down a drone aircraft using a laser in a recent test. The weapon dubbed LAWS, or Laser Weapon System, is powered by electricity, with the US Navy stating it can cost as little as $1 to fire. It's been designed to destroy fast-moving missiles, as well as aeroplanes and small naval vessels. While testing of the system continues, a US congressional report has raised concerns about the potential that it could accidentally hit satellites or aircraft. Its effectiveness could also be reduced by poor weather. Sticking with lasers, physicists at Edinburgh's Heriot-Watt University have developed a technique using them that can scan an object in 3D. It can detect objects from as far away as 1 kilometre. The system works by bouncing lasers off distant objects and measuring the time it takes for the light to travel back to a detector. It works with inanimate objects like cars, but because the beam can't reflect properly off skin, it's not terribly accurate when it comes to scanning people. The technology could be used to track an object's speed and direction from a considerable distance away. A speed camera you can't even see, perhaps. Paying to message someone who's not your friend on Facebook may be a step closer. Now, a trial in America has been extended to 3 million Facebook users in the UK. The social network won't reveal the new sliding scale of charges, but it's thought to start at around $1, rising to around $15 depending on how popular and how many friends they have. Facebook says the charge is to deliver your message into the person's inbox rather than the default other or spam folder. And finally, a congregation in England has made a church first after swapping their leather-bound hymn books for plastic-backed tablets. The Wi-Fi-connected touch tabs were used to share text and songs as part of a special service in St John's Church in Derby. And books weren't the only thing left on the pew. One partially sighted parishioner ditched his magnifying glass for the day in favour of the tablet's pinch and zoom.
Now, the next generation of video games consoles may be just around the corner, but there's still life in the old PS3 and Xbox 360. Tried and tested characters are still appearing in new games for both systems. We've already had a new outing for Tomb Raider's Lara Croft. Steady on there. And soon, fans of the sneaky stealth action series Metal Gear Solid will see the rough, tough and fairly gruff Solid Snake return to current gen consoles. The brains behind the Metal Gear Solid series, Hideo Kojima, used the recent Games Developer Conference in San Francisco to showcase a trailer for the 5th Metal Gear title, dubbed The Phantom Pain. Yeah, I have one of those. Snake will now strut that sneaky stuff in an open-world environment. It's all graphically very impressive and suggests that the last drops of computational grunt are about to be squeezed from the PS3 and the 360. And just a couple of days later, Electronic Arts showed off gameplay from the 4th instalment of its popular first-person shooter series, Battlefield. While online multiplayer games, which allow the player to dispatch total strangers online, remain popular, the latest instalment of Battlefield attempts to bring that frantic, anything-can-happen style of gameplay to the single-player campaign mode.
Speed up, Red! Dun's going into shock!
A lofty ambition, but with a brand new physics engine and graphics that look very pretty indeed. Running on a PC with a graphics card which we suspect is as big as your car, the game's developers DICE might just pull this one off. And still to come on Click this week, the creme de la face creme of the tech that tests whether these things are any more than skin deep. And with school and college exams looming, we have a great way to plan your revision in Webscape.